All right, so big news day in NASCAR today. Of course, after the past couple of days, weeks, hearing into these Stewart Haas Racing closing rumors, it was just confirmed, I think, yesterday. It might have been 2 days ago, but I'm leaning towards yesterday that they will, in fact, be shutting down and closing operations after the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season. So, with that, we have finally today figured out where one of these charters is going to go, and that is to Front Row Motorsports, who announced that they will be fielding a third chartered car starting in 2025. The driver of this third unknown charter car is yet to be confirmed, but I would have to imagine that it's somebody from the Stewart Haas Racing camp. You got guys there like Noah Gragson, who's going to be looking for a ride. Josh Berry's going to be looking for a ride on the Xfinity side of things. You've got Riley Herbst, who has shown some, potential. There's even dark horses like Chase Briscoe, who I would assume would be going to the 21 Wood Brothers racing car, but his future's kind of up in the air. But I have been seeing him linked to that 21 Wood Brothers machine. I feel pretty confident that's where he's going to end up. But you also have guys like Ryan Preece, who we might see drop back down to Xfinity Series or maybe even modifieds. We've seen that he's had a lot of success in modifieds. There is somebody outside of my house repeatedly honking their horn. That was weird. But we don't really know many details yet about this third Front Row Motorsports machine, other than there will be 3 chartered cars on the Front Row Motorsports side of things in Cup next year. And if you think about it, it makes sense to me, at least, to have either Herbst, Gragson, or Berry in that third Front Row Motorsports machine. And they're not looking just to fill that one, new chartered car seat. They're also looking to fill Michael McDowell's seat, as he's going to be leaving and going to Spire at the end of the season. That's 2 potential rides for former Stewart Haas Racing drivers. Anybody moving up in Cup. I've heard a lot about Austin Hill potentially going to Roush Fenway Keselowski as a third car. I've heard rumors about Trackhouse and Colleague merging. I've heard plenty of rumors. There's plenty of stuff to be going around. It's not even silly season yet, guys, and we're already getting to some crazy rumors and some crazy developments. And I just want to take kind of the time to reflect on Stewart Haas Racing. Kevin Harvick said it best. In the matter of 6 months, they went from forever to forward. Now we are at for sale. And I think that a lot of this comes from Tony Stewart and Gene Haas. They haven't been at the racetrack. They haven't been as supportive. You can just tell, they did that rebrand earlier in the year and said, they're bold, unapologetic race car drivers. But yeah, you might have bold, unapologetic race car drivers on your team, but a team without a leader is not a team. And that's unfortunately what we're seeing out of Stewart Haas Racing. It doesn't all fall on Tony Stewart. It doesn't all fall on Gene Haas, but it falls on both of them. And you look at Tony Stewart. Has he been at the racetrack this year? Not that I know of. He could have been there a couple times, but you've got owners like Pitbull. You got owners like Michael Jordan. I don't know how much Floyd Mayweather was there when it was still, Money Team Racing. They just changed to Amerivet Racing. It was a sponsorship concern. They had at Charlotte. The sponsor wouldn't go on the car. If it was affiliated with Money Team, I guess, with Floyd Mayweather, not really sure about that. But my point being, a lot of these owners you'll see at the track more than you saw Tony Stewart at the track or Gene Haas at the track. And I understand that these are, busy people. Gene Haas has his own F1 team that he's got to look after. Not like anybody's beating Max Verstappen anyway. I mean, I think we've had, 2 different winners this season in F1 other than Max Verstappen. I don't really keep up with F1 a lot, but I know that he's been absolutely dominating. But I know that on the Stewart Haas or on the Haas Racing side of things in F1, Haas isn't necessarily the greatest F1 team, that's even in F1. So they're lackluster in F1. Tony Stewart, I think, is doing something with like NHRA. I know that I've seen him in a couple of NHRA events, and he's been really big into that this year. And that's just, further proving the point. He's too busy doing his own things. They were both too busy to be at the track. And you see people like Michael Jordan, who, is part owner in multiple professional sports teams. He's there more. Pitbull's out doing shows. He's there more. It's no secret to me why Stewart Haas Racing failed, but it is a surprise to me that it took, this short of amount of time 10 years ago, these were guys that were contending for championships. 10 years ago, they were coming off of their first championship with not their first with Kevin Harvick, not their first in total. But, the point being, Kevin Harvick was a guy that was winning, 8 or 9 races a year. If he wasn't winning at least, 5, 6 races, that was a bad year. And a lot of guys would be happy to win, 8, 9 races in their entire Cup Series career. You've got a guy who's, producing great numbers, who was still in his prime a decade ago, well, into it, but still in it. And here we are 10 years later off that 2014 championship. Stewart-Haas Racing announced they're closing their doors. It's not all on Kevin Harvick, but he did, and it's very evident and very obvious to me that towards the last couple of seasons, towards the end of Stewart-Haas Racing's life, it's very evident to me that Kevin Harvick was the one that was bringing in the sponsors, that was bringing the equipment home better than it should have been brought home. Because let's be honest, we've seen what Stewart-Haas Racing's been doing this year. They've had a couple of good runs, but really look at the qualifying numbers. They're mid to back end of the field pretty much week in, week out, consistently every week. Every once in a while, I do notice that, Gragson or Barry or somebody does sneak up there and they have, at least top 20 qualifying run. I've seen them make a couple really good qualifying runs. I don't think Stewart-Haas has a pole yet this year, but I could be wrong on that. I haven't been able to exactly keep up on everything, but it's obvious to me that Kevin Harvick was wheeling it and getting way more out of that equipment than he could have, and we're seeing the effects of that now. We've been seeing the effects of that. I don't think Stewart-Haas Racing's won a race probably since Kevin Harvick won his last race. Maybe Eric Almirola could have got one. I don't really remember. But point being, Stewart-Haas Racing has fell off, and it's just incredible to see how fast that's happened in such a short amount of time. Kevin Harvick could have won a race in his last season. That wouldn't have saved Stewart-Haas Racing, but it would have been really nice for them to go out like this, because I can't even remember the last time Stewart-Haas Racing has come home with a win. But I would, again, be willing to bet that it was Kevin Harvick who came home with that last Stewart-Haas Racing win. I think there could be a possibility to see Stewart-Haas get one more win or maybe 2 more this season, but I would have to say that the odds of that happening are unlikely unless we go to a plate track. Josh Berry had I think a decent run going at Charlotte. I didn't get to see any of that race, but I did check, and there was a couple times that he, was cracking top 10s. I don't know if that was just green flag pit stops and I just, lucked out and saw that and made it seem like they were running better than they were. But I don't see them, contending for wins week in, week out. That's just hasn't been the case for the past, 2 years almost. And it's very sad to see that happen. But I do think it's a good thing for a lot of other teams that Stewart-Haas Racing is folding. Obviously, they weren't going to be, in contention anytime soon. Tony and Gene, they're not at the track. I don't think they really, to a certain extent, they don't care what's going on with the team. I think they do. They don't want to be failures. Tony Stewart is not the kind of guy that is okay with, coming up with worse results than should be expected. He's not okay with mediocrity, but maybe he is. Maybe this isn't the same Tony Stewart that we, once knew. Obviously, he's had a little bit of a falling out with NASCAR. But at the end of the day, I think your name's on that team. You would want that team to be good. Even if I wasn't there and I owned a Cup team and I wasn't at the track every week, I wasn't keeping up with everything, I would still want that team to be, good. I would still want them to be contending for wins, because at the end of the day, my name's on that team. That shows what I'm capable of doing. That shows what my team's capable of doing. And I just don't think it's a good look that things happened the way they did for Stewart-Haas. But again, I think this is good for other teams. Anybody that's looking for a charter right now, we got 4 of them coming up, and we know how hard it is to get charters. We know how expensive the price is on charters. Dale Jr. doesn't want to turn Junior Motorsports into a Cup team because of the high price on these charters. And over the past couple of seasons, we've seen a couple charters go up for sale, maybe 1 or 2, but this is 4 charters all at the same time. Well, 3 now, assuming that Front Row did get that charter from Stewart-Haas. There's more charters on the market now than I think there have been in the past couple of years. I think that could potentially bring the price of a charter down just a little bit. I think that this is a good opportunity for, first and foremost, if Dale Jr. did want to get into the Cup Series with Junior Motorsports, this is probably going to be his best opportunity. There's 3 charters up for sale. It's just simple market. If there's more of them on the market, the price is going to go down a little bit. If there's less on the market, if there was only 1 or 2 charters, the price is going to be a little bit higher. I think if Junior did want to get into Cup, this would be the time to do it. But at the same time, Trackhouse wants to expand. I've heard they might merge with Colleague. I believe Spire is looking for a 3rd charter. Richard Childress is looking for a 3rd charter. Penske could perhaps go for one. The options are there, but I think that this is unfortunate for Stewart-Haas, but great for the sport. I think we're going to get a lot more, teams that are trying to build back up to that 3-4 car team like we have with Hendrick and Joe Gibbs, who I think are the only 2 teams in NASCAR in the Cup Series level right now, at least, to have a 4-car, full team, how we look at it. But now there's a possibility to shake that up. We'll at least get a couple more 3-car teams. Maybe new teams will come into the sport. Maybe new teams will form. We don't really know, but the son of a bitch. Fuck, I hate that. 11 and a half minutes in, and I finally start stuttering and forgetting what words I'm looking for. The possibility is there. Sorry for, more teams to shake things up and for more teams to come into the sport or expand or whatever they want to do. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks and where these charters go. And if we do hear any rumors about Junior Motorsports, seeing where these Stewart-Haas drivers who are going to be, right now out of a job next season, where do they end up? Are they going to go back down to Xfinity in Cole Custer, Ryan Preece's case? Cole Custer is in Xfinity. Could Cole Custer move back up to the Cups? Could Preece move down to modifieds? Where are we going to see things shake up? What's going to happen with Briscoe and Wood Brothers Racing? Where does Harrison Burton end up? There's a lot of questions that still have to be answered, and we are still in the NASCAR regular season. Silly season is going to get crazy. I'm going to try to be here for it. I'm going to try to get back on and, bring this sports talk back and everything. I've been missing it, really been wanting to get back into it, and I think I have time now. So I'm hoping that I can continue to post, give insights, break news, things like that, and just have general discussions. And it won't just be NASCAR. We'll see NFL on here. We'll see NHL. Honestly, anything. I love the sports world. I love to talk about it. I love to break news, things like that. I like to have discussions about things like this. So hopefully I can continue to do that. Hopefully you made it this far, and if you did, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, and I'll be back next time when I have some more news to share. So thanks, everybody. Leave a comment, leave a like, let me know if you enjoyed this and if you want me to continue making more. And until next time, see you guys later.